Hey,
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I am good. If
Well,
I'm looking down, it's because my monitor is down there, and
that's okay.
I'm
That's
here.
fine.
I'm with you. How are you doing? How was your week?
You're very clear.
Good. Yes. Oh,
Voice,
good.
voice and image. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I may have been. I hope I may not be going back into the city for 2 or 3 weeks. So,
Okay.
um, because my office is being has been turned into a place where they're installing a HVAC system.
Oh.
So that's a good excuse. And um and yeah, and I have stuff I can do out here.
Yes.
Um Going to see Oppenheimer tonight. Haven't seen Barbie,
Uh-huh.
so I'm I don't have any discussion yet. I have however been advised because Oppenheimer I think it's 3 hours.
Yeah, it's I think 3 hours. Yeah, it's a little over,
No,
but
I've
yes.
I've been told at what point it would be
Uh,
safe for me to take a
that's a
pee break.
good, yeah, no, it's a good, I couldn't figure it out because what point were you told? Because for me,
I was
well, again,
told when
mild
the brother when
spoilers.
his brother comes in to talk or something like
Oh,
that.
okay. When his brother comes in to talk. I don't know. It's hard. I mean, I sat through the whole thing and I
Yeah, I
felt
might. I might.
great.
I mean,
No,
it's
wait, I
just
left for one moment, but no. The whole thing, it's worth it. I enjoyed it. I like it. Um, Let me know what you think.
no, I will.
Are you seeing it in IMAX or are you seeing it in regular?
No, it's Sag Harbor, so it's a Sag Harbor movie theater was burned down and they rebuilt it, but they rebuilt it with the same kind of old-fashioned red velvet theaters.
Good. No, good. And those theaters are really, really important. That's the type of theater I saw Barbie in. And then for
Yeah.
Oppenheimer, I chose the mall multiplex with the
Now
IMAX.
this will be not a big deal.
But
I mean,
here's my question. Here's what I want you to notice, assuming you make it to the closing credits. Do they cut off the sides of the screen? Because my
okay.
thing is, I think he shot in a format so exclusive that A, only 30 theaters in the world can actually show it the way it's quote unquote meant to be shown. But more importantly, almost every theater in the world, well, not only the closing credits, how much of the movie are you missing if the closing credits are going off the sides of the screen? Um,
Ah, well, okay.
so
So
I just noticed it, and I'm wondering. And again, I saw it in IMAX. I paid for the IMAX, which should at least account for the ratio. I mean,
but
and
it
I'm not
still
a
cut it off.
what? And
IMAX
yes, it
cut it.
did. Yes, it did. That's why the hashtag Kroppenheimer is or was trending. That being said, no. It's a great movie. See it in the theater. I think everyone should see it in the theater. I think everyone should see Barbie in the theater. I think you should see them both this weekend. I think you should make a plan. But I mean, not the
Well,
same night though. I think the same night
yeah.
is too much.
I no, I can't do that. But this will be make me late for bed anyway. So well, no, back to the screen business because I can remember when VistaVision came out, or
Yes.
CinemaScope, where there
Yes.
was only one theater in London, which was the first big widescreen experience.
Hmm.
I don't know how they shot. It was maybe it was Ben Hur, but then
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of the European TV shows I watch, if I go full screen, it cuts some of the subtitles.
Right.
So, so if I want to see
Wait, so you
everything,
have to watch it in the wait, if you go full screen or if you go.
no, if I go, I like full screen,
Yes, yes.
but sometimes the subtitles are large, and therefore when you
Oh, that's really
screen,
interesting.
it,
Oh,
it
that's really
actually
interesting.
crops. It
Yeah,
crops.
yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't
Because of your because
actually. The
yes.
full screen is when I go inside, and I
Yes.
get a
Yeah.
horizontal. I
Right.
get a
No, right. No, no, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I guess that's full screen. I don't know, but anyway.
No, I
So
know what you're yeah, yeah, I know what you're saying. But yeah.
I, yeah, I wonder, yeah, if you're. I mean, it's almost as if you're not getting all the painting to the edge of the frame, right? I mean, if the movie has been shot and a scene has been shot with things and people in it,
right, and
And
they're
when it's
going right.
shown, it's abridged, right?
Right. Well, and then I wonder, I mean, what version will ultimately end up on video? I mean, okay, he shot it in the largest format. And again, you'll notice, whatever theater you see it in, the levels of detail. You'll notice people's back hair. You'll notice people's eyelashes in ways you've never noticed, which is fine. I mean, he shot it in a level of detail that is incredible. And that will, I think, cinematically and taught in film schools and stuff. But again, I wonder. So again, only 30 theaters in the world can actually show it the way it's meant to be shown. The actual print on a film celluloid print is 600 pounds and 11 miles long. So like, what's the environmental impact of shipping that around the world? I mean, I think about all these things, and none of it's really important. But it's like,
So it's still film. It's still.
so,
I mean,
well, yes, the 30 theaters that can show it, it is IMAX 70 millimeter physical film. Yes, that's how he wanted it to be seen, not digital. And so I only saw IMAX digital, and I mean, there are different levels, but no, I mean, again, none of this technical stuff that I'm that interested in. This is all Christopher Nolan's world. I guess he's making some of us interested in it because we're talking about it, but that's fine. It's the technical world. Oh, exclusive SAG-AFTRA strike may be. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not SAG, not the actors. The writers' strike might be ending as soon as August 1st, which is Monday.
Really? Well, wouldn't the actors? Well, no, they wouldn't.
Well, no, they're separate strikes because they're both about the future of who creates content and whatnot and how money is distributed, but they're separate fights. So it's not going to be automatic that SAG follows, but the Writers Guild, yeah.
But some of the issues,
Yes.
I mean, some of the issues are the same, I would guess, in terms of streaming and,
yes, and artificial intelligence and how content is created. Yeah. Oh, okay. No, back to, so okay, you're missing part of the experience, and then painting, relating that to paintings. Again, well, activists throwing things at paintings, which are now making paintings harder, less and less accessible. Now they're putting different kinds of barriers, and you have to step farther and farther back. And when you're talking about something like the Mona Lisa, it's already pretty small. So so if you have to step farther back, you're missing more. And again, they're saying activists, this is the future if activists keep doing this. And also, I guess it's not even activists. The Colosseum tourists just keep kind of sort of defacing just ignorantly, and I don't know.
I don't. I think the activists targeting paintings to get publicity is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the news about tourists defacing monuments is because they're being caught by people with cameras and iPhones.
Oh, but it's also not new.
Always done it. I
was gonna say it's also not new. That's my thought too. I mean, these monuments have
done it for hundreds of years.
Thousands since they were
1,000-year-old graffiti.
Yeah. I know. I agree. Okay.
Year-old, monuments. So,
I agree.
I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I'm saying it's not. I don't think it's a surge necessarily.
Right. No. Right. So again, yes. Along the same lines, not saying it's a good thing. When I go through nature trails and stuff, sometimes I stop at trees and I see things as far back as like, Jesus Loves Judy 77. And I love that. At the same time, I am not encouraging people carving things into trees, but I'm saying that is a real thing that people do, and it touches my heart a little bit, and it's, I'm not going to do it. I don't encourage it, but it's okay. It doesn't hurt.
At what point does graffiti become archaeological
right. No. Right. What's the threshold before it becomes? Yeah.
I mean, 100 years, 200. Is it? No. I think the issue of the paintings in the museums. I think it's been decades since anybody could walk into the Louvre and really see the Mona Lisa by standing in front of it, because they protected it for
Sure, it's bulletproof.
So
it's like
that's a trade-off. I don't know. I wanted to ask you, actually, this is kind of switching the subject, but I saw some news this morning there were shootings in Seattle. Did you know anything about that?
No. Um,
Yesterday,
give me more details, but I mean,
I just saw police activity, Seattle shootings, downtown.
oh,
I don't know if somebody died or maybe not, or
right. Okay.
maybe,
So I talk a lot about the quote unquote Seattle is dying narrative at the same time, and this is all about homelessness, which I call people living unsheltered, but what they call homelessness,
yeah,
people,
yeah.
substance abuse and use, etc. At the same time, I really have to acknowledge crime. There has been a crime uptick. It really is like, I mean, it's a both and I have been kind of more on the side of they're making something out of nothing. I don't know anything about this particular shooting, but
Okay,
no, there are shootings in Seattle. There are shootings. There are
yeah.
shootings in Seattle, and there's some. And I mean, there are shootings everywhere, and many of
Yes,
them
yes,
are unwarranted, and many of them are people just flying off the handle over really weird and silly things. And yeah, but no, I don't know
they've
about this
done.
particular.
They
But
have done. Yeah.
I I spend time downtown. I mean, I Third Avenue is the area where they. What's interesting is Third Avenue, downtown Seattle, where there's a McDonald's, there's a Walgreens, there are places. It is and has been an open air drug market for 20 years. I mean, well, no, I'm sorry, for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
At least the entire time I've lived here.
Right.
12th and Jackson, which happens to be about a block away from my job, also open air drug market for the entire time I've lived here, worked in this. Yeah, I know that. That being said, there are bus station hubs, like not just bus stations, but where major intersect at both of those places. That's probably not a coincidence.
Right.
Because most
Right.
of the drug users, I don't know about the sellers who may be unsheltered, but most of the drug users are probably like suburban commuters, but whatever. I I don't know how to say this without. This is my personal experience, and I don't like to talk about other people when they're not present. But this is my personal experience. I raised a child there. I like walking back and forth. Our bus stops were there, and I never, ever, ever felt unsafe. The people who were involved, the people who are, I never felt unsafe. I still don't feel unsafe, and I go there at 2 in the morning, and I go there dressed as a gender non-conforming person. That's not where I feel unsafe. I feel unsafe in the suburbs up north in where they have Trump sign. I don't know how to describe. Yeah,
No, I
that's it.
know exactly what you're saying. I know
Yeah,
exactly what you're saying. I mean, um, no, it's other parts of town. It's not necessarily where the drugs are bought and sold, where you're gonna have I don't know, gang stuff. I don't know whether it's gang stuff or kids, teenagers with guns showing off or people
no,
high shooting in the air. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I mean, a lot of it just seems to be uh, post. I mean, just my take of the random gun violence post pandemic. People have really low socio emotional skills. None of that is taught. None of that is promoted on society. In fact, being emotional, having feelings, all that is like, stuffed down, ignore that, and people just flying off at really, again, random things in parking lots and on highways and on, I mean, and again, the accessibility to guns. In the past, these people would just use their fists and that would have been bad enough, but now they're using guns and now they're using assault rifles that actually can kill multiple, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it's not about people being angry or people, or
No, it's
it's definitely not about mental health, because if that's what the right wing always wants to equate it with, but access to mental health is an issue in this society. Um, yeah, I don't know. To me, it's
so
about the guns. It's about the guns.
I agree with you. It's about the guns. So I didn't realize this until I read the story in the Times this morning that um that Elon Musk runs hundreds or thousands of satellites that are used.
Starlink, yes, as part of
Yeah,
as part of
and
SpaceX.
like he can decide as an individual that this country or that country can't use it or can use it, or
This came up in the Ukraine. Yeah, no, this, yes, I
yeah, I
remember.
mean,
Yeah.
is he Tony Stark? I mean, is
He,
this like,
well, I mean, his fan base actually loves that, and he dresses up, he cosplays. Okay, he is, first of all, he's CEO of 4 corporations, X, and I'm gonna just call it Twitter because yeah,
yeah,
Twitter, Tesla, Starlink, and then Neuralink, which is the thing that killed hundreds and hundreds of monkeys by drilling things into their brain, and they're still trying to put chips in people's brains. That Neuralink is the 4th company that no one even wants to talk about, including him. But they get the patents, they're legal, and they're still drilling things into kittens' brains. I want to make that clear. But no one wants, yeah. Starlink is the company that owns the and SpaceX. It's Starlink is under SpaceX. Starlink is the satellites. SpaceX is the rockets. This is the part where people on the left mostly just make fun of him because he's trying to go to space and haha, but he actually has contracts with NASA, and we should talk about it.
Yeah, I mean,
those are government contracts. That's not funny. He's
controlling the communications.
And again, let's talk about the fact that one person is the CEO of 4 corporations. How is he possibly doing, like, 3 out of the 4 of them have stockholders, have boards of directors. How is he possibly serving all those corporations? All he does all day is tweet on Twitter. That's easily provable by the fact that all he does all day is tweet on Twitter. So how could I could easily, as a shareholder of any of those corporations, say he's not serving my company he's not, but yet he remains, because somehow they think he can. And again, when I say CEO, that's not a hypothetical title. He gets paid as the head of a company for each of those to run them. All the people under them have to know he's the head of that, whether he shows up for work at their corporation every day because all he's been at is Twitter for the last year.
Well, he doesn't, and he engages in adolescent behavior. I mean, and
they all have to know that. And but as for specifically Twitter, apparently they spent Monday of this year bird hunting, which meant removing all the logos off of that's what the employees did. They called it bird hunting, removing the Twitter logos because he changed the name. When he's impulsive, they're impulsive. Like, he's trained them to. This is what's going to be taught in business school. Like, I don't teach business school, but I know 100 years from now, this is what's going to be taught in business school, and it's not what to do.
But I mean, this is a very powerful king who can have whims, and people have to act on their whims, and they have far-reaching serious consequences and no accountability. There's no accountability. But I mean, people could take him to court, but shareholders. Okay.
But the people who follow him, no, I hear everything you're saying. Everything you're saying sounds logical and rational. The people who follow him like that idea. The people who follow him are Trump supporters. The people.
Well, yeah, I'm saying they obviously echo or are the same as people who believe Trump, and they enjoy the fact that whether they think he's transgressive or just on the right side, they enjoy that. They revel in it, in that. But they are. I mean, I suppose you could say this of anybody who's deeply religious. They're followers. They're not thinking for themselves. They're abrogating their, they're putting their faith. They're putting their faith in a human being who is, by definition, imperfect. Right?
Yeah.
It's not the Dalai Lama. It's a guy. Who's
Right. I often say, literally in response to someone on the internet, your talking points tell me someone else wrote them for you. I don't know you're not saying anything that's original or new or independent. Your words are, but here's the rebuttal. And then, for what it's worth. But again, I'm probably the same way. I'm sure to someone on the right, my talking points are all my talking points. I feel like usually I'm the one bringing up Elon Musk. What made that resonant to you this week?
I was dumbfounded at my ignorance at the fact that he controlled or owned this company that basically controls world satellite communications.
No, okay, that's a little bit overstating. I mean, I think that's a little
That's
bit.
what came across. In
Okay,
the sense
no, I mean
that
no, I mean yes,
so
no.
if he leans towards Russia
Mm-hmm.
ideologically,
Yes, no, this is true.
he
No,
can limit
yes,
Ukraine's
no, this is true. No, yeah,
access
yep.
for pointing weapons. I mean,
No, well, yeah, no, and that's yeah, no, and so in that sense, like,
I don't know, is there anybody else who is that powerful? I mean,
well, it's not is an well, yes, no, that is a valid question. Is there any other individual that powerful? Should he be that individual? But it's should our laws allow corporations to allow an individual to become that powerful? I mean, that's really what the I mean, right? It's the corporations. It's not him. I mean, well, he's the
well, it's it's because this country was founded on the basis of a culture of capitalism, which basically evolved into robbing the poor to pay the rich. And
okay.
So
yeah, no, yeah. Okay, two things. Here's what. Okay, one, there are very basic laws we can enact that would make this one. First of all, you couldn't be well, not you. Yeah, no, I would say you couldn't be CEO of more than one corporation. I think running a corporation is enough, and you should commit to one. That would be easy enough. Two, the CEO of a corporation can't make more than X their lowest employee, X percentage of their lowest employee. I mean, you know, because right now, like in the 70s, it was like 300 times. Now it's like 3,000 times. I mean, it's exponentially. They make it's ridiculous. I was gonna say something else and I lost it. Yeah, no, I don't know. Where else do you want to
go? You're right. I mean, there are every once in a while efforts to prevent the accumulation of wealth or the merger of giant companies which merge in order to prevent competition, in order to make more money. But Republicans usually, or if they have any power, either the Senate or the Congress, they thwart that. Those are considered to be liberal ideas. The idea that somebody should have, there should be a cap on earning,
right,
is a soft liberal idea, right?
No, right. No, yeah, and
dog eat dog. You know, the survival of the fittest, and
right. No, of course, no, free market economy until Ron DeSantis is the party, one of the main, you know, and suddenly going after corporations is de rigueur, and that's fine. Yeah. Seattle Art Fair this weekend.
What art fair?
Seattle. Probably not on your...
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, not on anyone's radar. I almost missed it, but I tickets.
There's nothing in the...
There's nothing. I know. I'm gonna go and see what it is. I bought a weekend pass, and it started on Thursday with like a evening preview that I was going to go to, but I had work stuff, so I had.
Are you going to go?
Yeah, and then yes, I'm gonna go later today, and I'll check it out.
Anything that interests you, just take a photograph.
I will. No, I am. I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna take a walk.
They made an effort a few years ago to get New York and international galleries.
I remember. No, I remember.
And it didn't work. It didn't work because the collecting base there is not big enough. I mean, it's quite strong. The people who do collect seriously, but there are not enough of them.
Yeah.
To sustain that, you know.
I mean, I'm in my mind because I bought a weekend pass, but I'm only probably going to go today, which I could have just bought a day pass. I'm like, well, I'm supporting art, but I'm not even sure who puts on the event. I'm not sure. Like, I don't feel like I'm supporting art the same way I'm supporting.
You're not. What people who run art fairs,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's most of us who participate in art fairs do so well, I won't say unwillingly, but aware of the fact that an art fair organizer goes to a community and basically says, rent me this big space very reasonably, because I'm going to fill your hotels and restaurants for 10 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they secure a space,
Mm-hmm.
and then, I mean, they have teams of people to build booths, etc. But basically, they then go to the galleries and say, we will charge you exorbitant rents for you to rent a booth, right? This size or that size, right? So, and you will, and they cannot make any promises. They will promise to deliver lots of rich people, right? But those are there's no guarantee, and we know.
No, of course, yeah, no, I get, yeah.
So we pay the amount, we rent the space. There's a route, we add to the rudimentary structure. We bring in paintings that are insured for a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
We ship people overseas. We ship paintings overseas or whatever. And because we're there, we being all of us, people pay admission, right? Which doesn't go to us, but we're the movie they're coming to see, right?
Yes. Yep.
But and all of those admissions go to the people running the fair. So they get the money from us, and they get the money from the content people, and they get the money from the people coming to see the content.
And then someone else got 25% just to make the QR codes for the tickets. Like, I mean, it's all.
Well, no, and there are lots of additional, there's this, and they sell the concessions. There's a concession, and they make money. They make money. Now they can lose money if nobody comes, right? That's true. They can lose money,
right? And again, this one doesn't seem very heavily promoted, and I think it's the first in person since 2000. I think 21 was the last in person.
They may not need to promote it if it's the first. People may just.
Oh well, I will let you know next week how crowded or not crowded or what.
I'd be very interested in that.
Yeah.
And also what price levels things are. Are they
and what? Yeah, no, and who shows up? Like, are they all local or is it international?
Yeah, exactly. Are they local? I mean, I'm all for. With the exception of like a handful of big cities that have a huge collecting base, I think all art fairs should be local. They should be supporting local art fairs and local galleries, and they should simply be, promoting local, bringing. So people on a local level often they're intimidated to go into a gallery, right?
Sure.
But they're not. I mean, a local gallery. I'm not talking about if they see if they go to an art fair, they're with a lot of other people. They don't feel intimidated, and then they may make friends with somebody in a gallery, and then I don't know. I think that's how it works. It works on a grassroots level.
Yeah,
it's much easier than. Us hoping that some out of 10,000 or 100,000 visitors, one person is going to come in and spend, billions of dollars on one Picasso they'd never seen before. That actually isn't going to happen.
But you still participate in Art Basel, and I mean you
participate in those art fairs that we feel either we know we have clients that will come and expect to see us, or where we feel, as an experiment, maybe there's a reasonable chance that we might meet one or two new clients, right? And I don't know. In a way, it's a necessary evil, because it's just tough to get people to walk into the gallery. It didn't used to.
Of course, yeah.
Now it is. So what else is going? So I want you to, if it would be really nice to have a report on that, because I hadn't even heard about it.
Yeah, no, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Okay, along the same lines, I read a pro Publica report about private museums and foundations and how most of these they get all these tax credits, but they're not open any, a lot of them are adjacent to the person who owns them homes, and it's basically the house next door that they bought that houses their art collection that they can open up for.
This is, I mean, I haven't read that, but
Yeah.
I think, I don't know if these tax codes are federal or by state or even by locale. I do know, however, that there are fairly big private museums, privately funded museums that are open to the public, period, end of story, like 5 days a week or something. I'm also aware, and this goes back quite a long time, I know he's no longer alive, a collector who lived on Long Island, and he had quite a big property, and he erected a barn on his property, I mean, a big white barn, and he had most of his collection hanging in that barn. And I don't think he was cheating anybody, but all he was required to do was to have a few groups visit a year.
There's actually no requirement. So especially during the pandemic, several of these, and that's what the pro public, I will send you the link, pointed out, didn't show to anyone publicly at all. There's no like minimum. It was, in fact, Orrin Hatch, who I think is a Republican, in the 90s pointed out, and it was brought to his attention and made, but it never went anywhere, that there are no requirements. There's no how public is it, how many days, how they get to decide. And so what made it really interesting is, so for instance, there was one example was this sort of historic house, and they compared and contrasted it to one that they didn't even know about, but that was nearby and pointed out to them on their tour of this house. And that other house is open and to the public 9 days, 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. And when the person asked how many people have been to that house, most people on the tour raised their hands. The person leading the tour, in contrast to the PR person who responded to the article, said, "Oh well, we like to keep it. We want to keep it to the people who really want to see this house." This was a docent, and so like we've talked about who the docents are and their attitudes, and this attitude of exclusivity. So later in the article, they found a different program, which again was located in, basically it was just the house next door that they bought as a tax write-off to store their art. And they went on and acknowledged, oh yeah, I get dozens of requests a week, but it's not worth showing off to one or two people. You were worth it because you're a reporter, but I'm not going to just show it off to the I could show it off, but I don't. And that was their attitude. That was their, and
but
I haven't showed up
they're getting a tax break.
And they don't have to. There's no, and again, since the pandemic, they haven't shown it off once until this reporter, and they were fine with that, and they're still getting the tax write-off. Yeah. And sorry.
Go ahead.
These people stay on the boards forever, even if they don't have to do anything. Yeah, no, it's all, I think there's a real something there.
I would say that the problem there is that there is no enforcement, that the IRS does not have the HR. They simply don't have the people to track that. I mean, I do hope that, we all hate paying taxes, but I do think that if the IRS was properly funded, then the government would get more money in tax from people who actually can afford it. I know it. I really do believe that. Because I
Yes.
think a lot of people get away with stuff simply because there's nobody sitting at the desk when the thing comes across.
And organizations, and I'll just put this, I'll say this every single time. Um, Religious organizations who donate to, who rent space to, who rub hands with political, with especially the right wing, need to pay taxes. If you're renting out your hall to Donald Trump, you should be paying taxes. You're not a protected, but that's a whole separate thing. I know tax is a whole.
Yeah. Well, okay. Death and taxes.
Death and taxes. What else? I mean, we only have a couple minutes, but
I don't know. I was just shocked and upset that the 83-year-old former Prime Minister of Australia said colonialism was a good thing for Australia. And it's a good thing it was the British, otherwise it could have been worse. And I'm not.
oh wait, otherwise it could have been what?
Worse.
Oh,
In
I don't know
other
what that would
words,
even mean. I thought. Well, at least
could have been worse. It could have been worse, guys. Could have been worse. You know, we could have killed everybody, right?
Well, I mean, you know that in Florida, it is now slavery is now being taught to children as a benefit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
job training is job training.
Okay, here's my thing on that, and I just say this is very simple, but I've been arguing this all week with racists on the internet. There is nothing taken away from black people that wasn't all the lists that Ron DeSantis came up with: blacksmithing, tailoring. These things were invented in Africa. Metallurgy, go look it up. The Iron Age, they have had metallurgy since the 25 BC. Like, you're so ignorant, and you want to teach that to children. I'm screaming, but like, I mean, it's painful. Like,
yeah, it's so painfully ignorant. It's so painfully ignorant. Yeah.
But here's also the like racist disconnect. Racists love the fact, and this is not actually true, but they say actually Africans were responsible for more slaves than anyone in the world. That's not actually true. Statistically, it's actually like the Phoenicians or the Romans or something. But yes. And they also want to claim that Africans had no shipping. Well, how were they involved in the slave trade if they had no shipping? Like, you're like, they want, like, it's the but again, they don't want children to even, it's not just that they're removing race from they're removing social emotional learning, which is actually what my, like central to what I do. Because they don't want children to think. They don't want children to think critically. I am looking at the laws that they're writing, and they're literally removing the parts where children can think critically for themselves. It's not just about race or gender or whatever. It's about
your own, knowing the facts and making up your mind.
Right. It's yeah. Yep. Well, I hope you enjoy Oppenheimer.
I'm going pretty soon, so
yeah, it's good. No, it's really good.
I'll let you know.
And I'm looking forward to. But see Barbie too, please, because I want you.
I will. Maybe
I want your take on that as well.
I love you.
I love you. Okay, bye.